All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. How's it going, Jen?
Good.
There's some energy, huh?
Yeah, lots of energy today.
All right. So today, first, we were at an event, and I thought this was cool, so I want to do a little shout out. We were at an event and bumped into a stylist named Ashley,
Mm-hmm.
and she grabbed me after the event and said, "Hey, I just wanted to say hi and introduce myself." And I was like, "Okay." And she was like, "I'm Ashley from here, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah." We follow each other on social media, whatever. And she said, I wanted to let you guys know that your podcast was the catalyst for me leaving where I was at. I wasn't completely satisfied there and starting my own business. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was the coolest shit ever. And so I wanted to
Nice.
give her a shout out because I think it's always cool to meet people. It's even cooler to meet people that listen to your show because I'm always like,
Yeah.
who's listening out there in the world? I can see like the cities and the towns and the countries, and we have a lot of stuff going on, but I don't know the people. Are they tuning in every week? Are they sort of transient? Are they finding our show and then leaving? I have no idea. So I was like, I hope people are still listening. Like, I hope people repeat listen. And she was like, we are listening. And I was like, it just made me feel really good. And so, Ashley, I know you're listening because you told me you listen. Thank you very much. You obviously made my day and my week because this is like a week later. And I just thought that was
And
cool.
she's
So,
killing it.
yeah, she's killing it. She's kicking ass. She is,
And then you were like, whatever you hear on last week's episode, I do not hate booth renting. Don't take it that way. That's not what I
oh,
was
yeah,
saying. And
because
she's
I
like,
was,
oh, okay.
and I explained it to her. I was like,
Yeah.
so it was last Monday and the event was last Monday and our episodes come out on Monday. And
Mm-hmm.
so I said, I was in a little bit of a grouchy mood. And I was like, I know how people are going to take what I'm saying. I think a lot of people make mistakes with booth rental, just like I think a lot of people make mistakes with commission salons. We just happen to be talking more so about
Mm-hmm.
rental situation. And once
Right.
again, for people listening, I do not hate anything. I don't have time to hate stuff. I think
Mm-hmm.
you could look at things as like and dislike for certain people, for certain scenarios. Like
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of people, I don't like booth rental because it does not open you up as much as you think it opens you up for certain people. It actually
Right.
closes you in. It actually caps you. And without some sort of like mentor or guidance or whatever. And I know everyone says that they offer this, but I see a lot of people going to spaces that offer the stuff that don't end up doing well.
Actually offer. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're not actually getting the guidance and
Mm-hmm.
the, I guess, mentorship or leadership that is needed. And
Right.
it's the same thing. I think, on the flip side, I think there are a lot of people that could absolutely thrive in their own space doing their own thing because
Mm-hmm.
they have what it takes to thrive in that scenario. It's the same thing with commission. There are people out there that I don't want to go rent a chair because I never want to have to worry about all the administrative stuff, all the tax stuff, all
Mm-hmm.
the ordering and the extra stuff that you think you're making all this extra money, but you're doing all this extra work. That's why you're making that
Right.
extra money. It would be like if you got hired to do that at a commission salon. It's the same thing. So it's just where your fit is, I guess, in the
Mm-hmm.
industry. So, anyways, thanks, Ashley, for inspiring
You rock.
a little bit of happiness. And I did talk to her about, actually, that's a teaser. You'll have to listen if you want to find out what I talked to her about in the future. All right. So, I want to talk about being yourself today.
Okay.
And I heard or I saw this post on Instagram, I think it was from Ryan Holiday. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
So you probably do. So Ryan Holiday is the guy that wrote The Daily Stoic and a whole stack
Oh,
of other books.
yeah. Okay.
And he's got a
Great
bunch
book.
of great, yeah, it's an amazing book. I'll link it.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys haven't read The Daily Stoic, it's absolutely phenomenal. You can get something out of it every day, every week, every year,
Mm-hmm.
whenever.
That's
You could read
amazing.
it straight through. Every day what they do is they have like a little excerpt from the Stoics,
Mm-hmm.
and then Ryan breaks down what that means in sort of easy to digest language. And so, like I said, each like it might my birthday is December 3rd, and I think it's like a short paragraph, like two or three
Mm-hmm.
sentences from the Stoics. And you would
We
think I
have it
would
at the salon.
remember. Yeah, I was going to say that. I had it here, and I
Hmm.
used to keep it by the fireplace, and I would just grab it when I saw it, flip to whatever the day was, and read the passage. And I did that like, I don't know, for a few years. And then I was like, more
Hmm.
people need to see this. So let's put this at the
Mm.
salon. So I moved it to the salon, and then it was by my station. And I was like, nobody's going to grab that here. So then I moved it over where
Right.
you have another book that people flip through. And I just
Yeah.
thought that was
Just.
cool. So, anyways, this post said, um, uh, Ryan was talking about the manager of Iron Maiden, the band Iron Maiden. And someone had gone up to him somewhere. I don't know exactly where. I don't think he specified. And he said, "Hey, I really like what you're doing in the music industry." And the manager of Iron Maiden kind of snapped at him, not snapped at him, but turned to him and said, "I'm not in the music industry. I'm in the Iron fucking Maiden industry." And so I listened to the rest of it, but I couldn't help thinking that that's the exact way that I feel about Hello Hair.
Hmm.
Because I don't have like issues. I'm not trying to be, I don't know if it's antisocial is the word when it comes to the rest of the hair industry, but I truly do not care or worry about what any other salon or shop is
Hmm.
doing outside of our walls. And so I started thinking of it more, and I was like, we really do live by our core values and our mission. We are really trying to do something different. And if it aligns with another salon or a shop, which obviously we're not out here, groundbreaking every step. You're not going to recreate the
Right.
wheel every single day. But it is a unique perspective. And I think it is unique because I worked for your salon that you had prior to this,
Hmm.
but I wouldn't call that my first experience because I was there for such a short period of time. I didn't do hair. I wasn't in barbering school. Like I didn't know what it was like behind a chair. I didn't know what it was like really working with clients in that setting.
Hmm.
So where I'm unique is I built my business, and I'm saying my, but it's ours. I built my business while I was in school,
Hmm.
and it became the first thing I knew in the industry. And then what I did was to find out what was going on outside of our walls was I would tag along with you to your classes, to
Hmm.
events, to shows, to whatever, to different things. And I talked to people and I learned that we really are pretty fucking different than
Hmm.
everybody else. So I thought that was
Yeah, we are.
something interesting to bring up. And it's always another thing that it led me down this like little thought experiment or I guess line of thinking was because I always have people that will say, "Oh my God, did you hear?" And I'm like, "Stop. Let me stop you. Nope. I didn't hear. I promise you, when I tell you I do not care what's going on outside of our four walls and not in a mean way, I don't know how you focus on what you're doing. I don't know how you focus on your business or
Right.
in my case, my business partner, which is my wife, which takes a lot of focus. I don't know how you focus on building your team. I don't know how you focus on really connecting with your clients if you're worried about what the salon down the street is doing or the one
And the
across
answer
the
is that
state.
you don't or you aren't. You're focused on the wrong things.
Yeah, and then I think it becomes where we get into, and we've talked about it a lot on this show, the monkey see, monkey do syndrome. Because you
Hmm.
think, well, if it works for them. So if somebody just took what worked at Hello Hair and they just plastered that up and they were like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to call it Goodbye Hair. And here we go, right? It's not going to necessarily work for them. Might it by default, by just numbers? Sure, it could work for them. But for how long? And does it truly?
Hmm.
And does it fulfill them?
Right. And I think that creates the trap of where you think someone is successful or things are working for them. You have no idea what the success level is they want. You have no idea what their debt is versus what it looks like they're bringing in and how busy they are. You could see a stylist super busy, but if the debt they have in those four walls is really large, busy being busy doesn't mean anything. So there's like you just don't know. It's easy to look at, especially from like social media views of salons and what they're posting or independent people what they're posting. You're like, oh, they just look so happy and they look so successful, but you really don't have a clue. Social media is just so that they can have that look. Maybe that day has been miserable for them, but that's the face they wanted to put on was like everything's great.
Yeah, for
Doesn't mean it's
sure.
true.
And people aren't posting there. And now I have seen some fails where people post fails and whatever, and
Hmm.
it's really cool, but nobody's out there posting their mistakes. Nobody's out there
No.
posting like I messed up to the point where I lost $5,000.
Yeah.
It's gone. You know what I mean? Because nobody wants to
Right.
admit those. It's a very difficult thing for your ego to do. And you, like on social media, people are so worried about like the perception of others, how others
Mm-hmm.
perceive them. They're so worried
Mm-hmm.
about that you're not truly being yourself. That's why I stay away from. I do our social media. And this summer I have slacked. So you can yell at me off air if you want, because that's my role and I've been just terrible
Mm-hmm.
at it. But
It is what it is.
I stay away from like the trends and stuff because you're just doing the same thing that everybody
Yeah.
else is doing. And it doesn't really convey a message that stands out. You're not really being yourself. You're definitely not being true to yourself. Again, here's a caveat. I don't care if you want to have fun and do that stuff, but it's got to be like the seasoning. It's got to be the salt and pepper of your branding, of your content. It can't be
Mm-hmm.
the majority of that. That's overwhelming. And then you just end up looking like every other salon. And what do you
Right.
want to do? You want to be in the iron fucking maiden industry. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be
Yeah.
in the trend industry, the Instagram industry. And I think it's just so easy to fall into that trap. And I don't know what you would have to say to get people out of it because it's a personal thing. And you really need to be comfortable, I guess, putting yourself out there, putting your branding out there, because you might think, well, what if someone doesn't like Hello Hair? What if they don't
Right.
like their branding? They go somewhere else.
Right. I think that's why
Why is
people
it
do
that
copy.
complicated?
The copying, I think, equals into they aren't confident and they don't want to be judged or they think they're not going to be. So if something's already trending, then I know it's already liked. So I'm just going to jump on that rather than put out content that you're going to have fails and misses. And it's not easy, but you grow from it. And then before you know it, you start to find what sets you apart. But that takes a certain individual. It is not an easy road. Nobody wants to fail and fall on their face, yet the people that are risk takers and are truly successful in business, that's how they got there,
Makes sense.
right?
Yeah. So what else, like before we move on, what else can people do to be themselves? Like if somebody's listening, because I always like to give something like actionable if we can.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody's listening and they're like, yeah, I want to be myself, I don't know how. I've never really done that. I always just go on and copy whatever, or I ask so and
Mm-hmm.
so what they're doing, or I just post the back of a head because that's what everybody does. Like, what do you think?
So I think you'd ask them, like, how do you see yourself? What do you think of yourself? Like, what do you think you're putting out there? And I'd write it down. And then I would ask them, and what are you doing to make these things real? Because everyone has the person they want to be and the person who they are. And your actions are truly who you are, right? So you could say to me, like, I
Yes.
I am
Yeah.
this, this, and this,
Say that
but
again. Say that again.
your actions truly define who you are, right?
Doesn't
So
matter who
you
you
could,
say you are or what you say.
yeah,
It's your
right?
action.
That's
Yeah.
where you could say I'm all these things. So then, like, okay, well, what actions are saying that those things are true, right? And I would almost guess 100% of them are not true because who we want to be and who we are very different things. So then I think just like we talk about in business, well, let's look at your vision for yourself. What's the mission for yourself? Like, what core values do you hold? Now, what actions can you do? So maybe you aren't the person you want to be and you just literally like, shit, I am not doing anything that I thought I was, or I'm not presenting myself in a way I thought I was. Okay, cool. That's great actually, because that's something you can work with. And then, where do you want to be in the future? And then now you can lay out the steps of like, how do I get there? What steps do I take? This is something I found or really like hit hard when we started having children because I could tell my kids, I want you to do X, Y, and Z. And that's cool. I'm telling them, but they look up to me and Todd. So they're going to do what we do. Even though I tell them, don't do what I do, it's wrong. If I'm still doing it, they're going to do it because they want to be like us. So it started to really resonate with me as like my actions and what they see daily needs to be what I want from them. Otherwise, we're going to fail. And that's not easy. Like there are things that like even still now I do, I'm like, shit, that was an epic fail. But I regroup, I apologize. Like my actions daily because of those children truly created the person I am today. But I realize that because they're watching me. So I'm like, I have to arrive at this person I want them to see, but also for the person I want them to be.
You know what that just made me think of? You don't, so I'll tell you.
Okay.
I saw this post on one of the groups that we're in or I'm in. I think it's on Facebook. And this salon owner said, I brought on a new stylist and they don't want to be on online booking. We have online booking. and they don't want to be on it. And they said, I like to manage my own schedule. I like to be able to move people around because I know how they fit and whatever, their argument was. And the woman continued and said, I'm not on online booking, but I want all of our staff on online booking. I'm not on it because I'm too busy. And I was like, so you're not really, like you
Lead
said,
by example.
like you just said,
Yeah.
right? You're like, no, you have to do this, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah. When
So
we opened Hello, I double booked, triple booked, was still eating my
sure.
lunch in the bathroom and everything. And we were raising young professionals, and I'm like, don't do what I do. But let me tell you, all they wanted was to be as busy as me. So I'm like, I have to change my way of life, or I can't. I'm trying to show them like this is not quality of life. This is not good work all the time. But that's my words fell flat because they just saw me busy being busy, and they were like, that's how you're supposed to be. And as soon as I changed that, and now like where we are in the flow of the salon, but I had to change what I did in order for them to understand the importance, right? Not
Yeah,
easy to do.
we sort of eliminated double booking at our salon. And I remember someone having a major problem with it and being like, if I can't triple book, then I'm not going to work here because blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you're not even single booked though.
Right.
You're worried about something that is irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just because it gets in people's heads
Yeah.
and they're like, if that person does
Hmm.
it that way, I have to do it that way.
Yeah. That's how you're successful. Like, no.
Yeah, that's it's really interesting. And I think I don't know that you can truly avoid that because people are always going to be unoriginal. You're never going to have a bunch of people that are just original in an
Hmm.
industry. And this industry loves to talk about how creative they are, how
Hmm.
original they are, how much of leaders they are, and how much math they don't want to do because they're not a numbers person. Like everybody says the same thing. So you're not really
Hmm.
original. If everybody's saying the same thing,
Right.
you're not unique by
You're
definition.
getting lost. Correct.
Yes. So I would learn to experiment. You know, that would be my piece of advice that I would give somebody. I would go to, like, if you're a stylist, I would maybe jump in a class with some barbers.
Hmm.
It could be as simple as that. Do something that takes you outside of your comfort level. Challenge yourself.
That's hands on. Most people just ignore that because it's so uncomfortable to be watched and construction
Scrutinized.
criticism on. Yeah. So they'll take the ones that are like online, or they'll take the ones that it's just a demo. But when it comes to being hands on, people don't sign up for that shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Or they'll take the ones with their friends, you know what I mean? That are like, I know this is going to be easy, so I'll just do this.
Yeah.
Or they take the
Right.
ones that I'm good at. I don't know
Yeah.
anybody that's not a lived in specialist. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Everybody is.
Everybody's taking those classes.
Hmm.
And what was I just going to say? Oh, there was one time where you took a class and you came back and you were like, I want you to cut this hair. You were running a class in our salon and you said, I want you to cut this hair this way. And I was like, how in the hell, how am I going to get in there? It doesn't even make sense. And you said, that's because you're thinking about holding your scissors how you always hold them. And in that position, you're not going to be able to get in there. So I want you to hold them like this. And I was like, oh. And then after I was thinking to myself, and I've done this a bunch of times since, I can hold these scissors however I want to hold them.
Hmm.
But whatever works for me is
Yeah.
what will work. And
Hmm.
whatever lets me work obviously safe and clean is what I should do. So I
Go
experiment
nuts.
all the time with holding my scissors in different situations.
And stuff like that. I'm
Yeah.
always like, I'm like, hold on. I go to one side of the head. I'm like, nope, I need to cut all of this on this side. Give me a second. And I've been doing hair for 25 years, but
Yeah.
I'm aware now of certain things because of the classes I've taken that I'm like, I can make this haircut way more balanced if I do it in this manner.
Yeah, that's cool. And
And that's
so
not every haircut.
yeah, and I think a lot of people would be afraid to be judged. You know, you're in a salon
Hmm.
and everyone's looking at you like, why is he or she holding their scissors that
Hmm.
way? I can show you if you ask me.
Yeah.
Or don't try that. I tried it, it didn't work. Yeah, I had to
And I
fix it. You know
think
what I mean?
I
But
think the importance there is like understanding the why. Like I'm trying to create this. And I think if you just do it, I've seen it. One of our staff was asking the day, she's like, I saw this on social media somewhere. I wanted to try it. And I'm like, all it is this. I will show it to you. It's nothing new. And I would let me do it for you. And then you need to do it on a mannequin. Like you need to practice this, but understand the why. All it's doing, it was removing weight. I'm like, you could do it this way, this way, or this way. It's going to give you the same result. If you want to just try to approach it some way differently, go right ahead and practice it. But you don't have to because you're already doing it this way and it's the same exact thing. But I get it. Social media is fun. I guess, for some.
It was probably one of those situations where somebody was doing the same exact thing that everyone else does, right? And in a sort of attempt to look different, they just
Yeah.
named it something different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, totally. And so when she had asked for my help, I'm like, so is this what you're trying to create? She's like, that's exactly, yes, that's it. I'm like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
nothing new. But
interesting.
it's whatever. It's always fun to even just show them like you can do it like this. Like it's the same thing, and heads are blown. But it's the
I
why. Why do you want to create that? What are you looking to create? Okay, this is what we're gonna do.
I was showing somebody a haircut and they were like, I always struggle with this spot. And so I sort of, and I'm not some crazy groundbreaking barber, but when I went in with my clippers, I needed to change directions. So I flipped my clippers around in my hand
Mm-hmm.
and in sort of, I guess, would look like an awkward way. If you're a barber, you'd probably be like, yeah, I've done that a million times.
Yeah.
But for a stylist, they were like, whoa, you just blew my mind. I didn't know you can hold clippers like that. And I was like, technically, you want to know a secret? You can hold them however you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a way that I would recommend to start out because it's going to get the bulk of your work done for you. So if you're just learning, it's important to learn like a foundation and then go from there. You don't want to be trying tricks
Yes.
everywhere, but
Right.
once you get a little bit of a foundation, if somebody's hair growth, the pattern goes in a different direction or whatever, and you need to get in there, I'm not going to lift my elbow way up in the air and be all weird in a weird position. I'm going to just
Mm-hmm.
flip my tool and use it in a different way, you know?
Yeah.
That is actually a good point too. Maybe just try a new tool. That could be something that sets you
Mm-hmm.
apart and something that makes you unique and builds your confidence.
Agreed.
I think we all just get comfortable doing the same thing over and over again, and you get good at it because you're doing it
Mm-hmm.
repetition,
The
repetition, repetition.
repetitions are getting in. Yeah.
And I think that's great. We talk about that all the time. You need repetitions, you need good repetitions, and you need foundational repetitions.
Mm-hmm.
But then explore different stuff. Like any of the tools that we have will cut hair. It doesn't matter. Like if I know people think like a razor is special. A razor is just a blade, just like a blade on your scissors, just like the blade on your clippers, just like the blade on
I don't think
trimmers,
people think
whatever.
it's special. I think most people are afraid of it.
Well, that could be it too. But
Yeah.
there's tons of stuff you could do. Like just a lot of people will do, a scissor over finger, right? Is very common for cutting hair. Well, you could do clipper over finger. I don't actually do it a lot. I do it a little bit, but either way, like just I guess if you're looking to kind of challenge yourself and stand out, I would just try something new. Go somewhere new,
Right.
experiment, have some fun. And if you're like, no way, I would never do that, do it on a mannequin. Get yourself a mannequin,
Right.
have some fun, and
You have
then
a
I don't know,
bazillion
try it.
mannequin heads always on the floor doing stuff to practice.
Yeah, exactly. And then you know what? Post it on social media. Have a backbone. Turn the
Yeah.
comments off if you need to. Or be like me, don't read the comments. I don't care what everyone
Mm-hmm.
else is doing. All right, I want to close out with just touching base on this. I keep seeing the same old thing. I wrote about this the last few weeks in my email. If you're not in there, go ahead. You can click below. The link is in the show notes. Every single show, but you can jump in my email list. And again, I've written about this a bunch of times. Every day I see the same questions over and over for people. What do you use? Do you use this product line or this product line? Do you use this color management software or this color management software? Do you pay
It
this?
literally is
Do
every
you
day the
pay
same
this?
questions.
Every
Yeah.
single freaking day. It's so tiring. I think the thing that we need to realize as business owners, as hair pros, is you do you. So
Mm-hmm.
just, it doesn't matter. Like, so for example, booking software. Having booking software is far more important than what booking software.
Yeah. They all have pros. They all have cons. They all
Yes.
have sucks. They all have
Every
greatness.
every single thing. Color
Yeah.
lines. Jen, you can speak to this. You have a color line. You absolutely love it. I don't care what color line it is, it has holes.
Yeah.
So
They
then what
all
do you
are
do?
missing something.
You patch the
You
holes.
have
You
to
don't have to get rid of
right.
the whole thing. You just figure out what you
Correct.
need and you
Mm-hmm.
fill in the blanks. Make sense?
I feel like a
Same-
lot of oh, go ahead.
Nope, I was just going to reiterate what I said.
So I feel like when I see those questions, and I see them often. I wake up to them. I go to sleep to them. And my consensus
Like a
would
lullaby.
be, yeah, it's like, whoa, none of those salon owners or hair pros have a mission, a vision, and a core value for the business they're running. Because if you did, your question would be more organized and more like nailed down rather than what color line is everyone using? Be like, okay, for the mission and vision of my company, or behind my chair, these three color lines fit. Can I get some feedback on pros and cons, right? Rather than what color line or is
Yes.
it Vish versus Salon scale or whatever. It'd be like, all right, I'm really like this company aligns with our beliefs. It has everything that's going on. Can somebody answer these few things? I'm just trying to make sure, which would mean that you're really trying to be specific for your salon or for you as a hair pro. So that's the miss that I see. You're so broad. Anybody can give you their opinion, but like if you haven't dialed it in, those opinions mean nothing. You don't know what you're trying to do with them. It's just a lot of information that you're like, probably feel like, oh, checked off the box. I got those opinions today, but you're not going to do anything with it because
Sure.
you don't know what to do with it, right? So you got to go back to, if you're asking a bunch of questions, what color line should I have, or what retail product should I have? What is the mission for your brand or you as a hair pro? What is the vision where you want to go? And then what is the values? Where do you stand for? Then out of that, you will be able to narrow down what you're looking for. Then you probably might need some advice, or you may not, because one will really talk to you. One will align with what you're doing.
I can back you up even a step further. So if you have narrowed it down, say you have Vish and Salon scale, and you're like, which one? I don't know which one to use. Talk to them.
Yeah,
Reach out
that's
to
what you should
Vish.
do.
Reach out to Salon scale. They're going to give you the pros of theirs and the cons of the other. Now
And
make
what
a
your
list
salon
and put
needs is
the
not the same as someone else's.
correct. Now what you can do is take that list of pros of theirs and cons of the other, match it up with their other with the opposite list, right?
Right.
Go through, form your own opinion, form actual questions, and then go to a
Yes.
group. But when you just go in there and you go, Salon scale or Vish, go. Like, go what? What are you
Yeah.
talking about? Go where?
We use Vish, so I guess I could say Vish, but you don't know anything
How
about
does that
our
help?
company.
How does that
So
help you? Correct. Yeah.
yeah.
You don't know why we chose Vish. You know what I
Right.
mean? We can get into it, but we've probably already got into it. We've interviewed
It's
Tim
in
Howard
our podcast.
on the
Yeah.
show. Go back and listen to it. Maybe I'll link the episode if I remember.
And that comes back to just your actions and who are you as a leader and what are you trying to do for your future. And if you don't know, you got to start from the beginning. You're going to have to step back,
You have to start where you are.
start where you are. I actually really like that.
It's fine.
Start today.
Jen, do you have anything else?
No, I think that was great.
Do you want to share your big news? I'm just
What is
kidding.
it?
No, I don't know. I
I
don't
have
know.
big news.
No, I don't think
I
so.
got nothing.
All right.
I got
Hey,
nothing.
jump in. Like I mentioned, Ashley, in the beginning of the episode, reach out to us. We love hearing about just what you like about the show, what you don't like. And that
Yeah.
really, I think, more than you know, when people reach out, steer the direction of the show. For example, we
Mm-hmm.
had that person that reached out and was like, I'm lost. I want to start a podcast. I don't know who it was, and I don't know why they thought we could help, but I created an email about it. I created a
Yeah.
podcast
I
episode
think we did
about
2
it.
podcasts on it,
We
honestly.
did. We did 2 episodes
Yeah.
on it. So
We're here
you
to help with whatever you
guys
need.
sort of, we steer the ship because we are the ones that have the vision for the show. But at the same time, if we're getting questions on stuff, we would love to address them. If you
Yes.
guys want to, whatever, you can reach out through email. You can reach out. There's a button through our email list that you can jump into. And then there's the new fan mail, they call it, from Buzzsprout,
Mm-hmm.
which just says, I believe, send us a text message at the top.
Cool.
So reach
Send it.
out there and engage with us. And thank you so much to everyone that listens because it really, truly makes my day.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.